Hello, good morning. I'm Ayan Sugatan, and I'm here to talk about flexible learning and delivery system. So for our course outline, we have the following. First is flexible learning. We will know what is flexible learning. Then we will discuss the 8 ways to support your students' flexibility in terms of student support. Then we will discuss about system delivery, that is the modality or modes of delivery, and we will discuss about asynchronous versus asynchronous in terms of flexible learning modality. Then we will talk about blended learning. So it is an offspring of flexible learning. And the last topic will be the kinds of blended learning represented by each modality. So flexible learning is a method of learning where students are given freedom in how, what, when, and where they learn. Flexible learning environments address how physical space is used, how students are grouped during learning, and how time is used through teaching. With space, students may be given dedicated breakout rooms to work collaboratively, so schools may restructure traditional schedules to provide students with time for collaboration in other activities such as guest speakers or performances to assist their understanding of a topic. Flexible learning refers to the ability to customize one's pace, place, and mode of learning. With pace, for example, the students may take accelerated programs or engage in a part-time learning to ensure they have time to work on the side. Learning can take place in a variety of settings, including in the classroom, at home via the internet, while commuting, or as part of the work-study program. So there are 8 ways to support your students' flexibility. First is to help student problem solve. When a student is refusing to do a task or complete a request, steer clear of assumptions like he's just being difficult. Dig deeper with your student to uncover the root cause of the behavior. If he's refusing to do a writing task, for example, it could be that he doesn't know how to start or has trouble with fine motor skills. Then what are you going to do? Demonstrate your flexibility by working with your students to find a solution that could get unstuck by using a computer, for example, or to complete a task instead of a pencil and paper test. Number 2 is teach flexibility. For many students, including students on autism spectrum, for example, the benefits of flexibility aren't immediately clear. Shine a bright light on how and why flexibility by teaching, and it should do everyday lessons. So what are you going to do? You have to tell your students, I wanted to use the overhead projector, for example, to show you this worksheet. Or for example, the bulb is burnt out. So what are you going to do? Like for example, in chemistry class, if you have no more supplies, what are you going to do? So when you model flexibility explicitly during daily classroom routines, your students will see how it applies in their real-life situation and how it helps keep problems from being insurmountable. Number 3 is teach self-advocacy skills. Show your students that it's okay to advocate for what they need to do. Like for example, try some gentle prompting to help students uncover and vocalize their needs. Like say to them that if you've noticed that you cover your ears in the cafeteria and that it makes it hard for you to eat lunch, do you think you can help it by lessen the noise in that place and come up with a comfortable situation at lunchtime? Number 4 is use a high ratio of praise to corrections. Aim for 4 praises or praises for every 1 correction. This is a key component of a flexible support classroom culture that students supported through their positive words and actions perform better than students who experience a steady stream of consequence and corrections. Number 5 is reassure students who love routines. Do you teach a student who has a specific self-soothing routine, or is it a good idea to respect her routine instead of asking her to change it? Unless it's harmful or it prevents her from completing her task, then a student can maintain a routine she finds helpful. She'll be better equipped to handle changes in the other areas. Number 6 is give them a heads up before a change happens. So many students, both with or without, for example, working experience or experiences with high levels of stress, they experience a high level of stress in their work or in school. So during their change in their routine or classroom environment, a stressed out student will find it really tough to be flexible. How can you help? You can help by priming students ahead of time for a change. So let them know exactly what's going to happen and frame it as a great opportunity to show how flexible you are. Number 7, build collaborative partnership with students. Treat your students as active partners in their education and listen to what they have to say. That doesn't mean you have to give in to students or lower expectations, but it does mean demonstrating flexibility and offering more choices. Brainstorm options for students stuck on a task. Could they choose their own easy topic, for example? Compose a computer in a quiet area instead of a desk? Or take a 5-minute break when they feel overwhelmed? Giving a student a bigger voice in their education helps all kids or learners. It is beneficial for some learners, while others may need help as soon as possible. Lastly, you have to know yourself. You have to reflect on when you tend to become most rigid in the classroom. So, for example, do a certain behavior act as triggers for you? Or are you less flexible when interacting with certain students? Understanding your own behavior pattern in the classroom will help you select and apply flexibility strategies. Let's move on to system delivery. So while in terms of mode or delivery system refers to the way that content is delivered by technology, so typically through blended learning, fully online courses, or technology-enhanced experiences. Asynchronous versus synchronous modality. In the flexible learning mode, the activities can be done in 2 ways, synchronous and asynchronous. An online chat at a real time is a synchronous session. Course participants meet in a virtual classroom and discuss a topic in the lesson. So whatever or wherever they are situated in the world, they agree on a scheduled session and log into join the live class or a live class. While a synchronous session is when question or tasks are posted and course participants answer the questions or post their reply at any time most convenient to them. So they can still participate in the discussion by replying to the post. So one advantage is that you can take your time when replying. In blended learning, another way of handling flexible learning is combining modalities of instructional delivery. So here comes blended learning. Blended learning is a combination of learning activities wherein a part of the lesson is delivered online while the other part is handled in an actual physical setting of a classroom. There are 5 ways to implement blended learning. We have Model 1 is face-to-face driver. Number 2 is rotation. Number 3 is flex. Number 4 is online lab. And number 5 is online driver. So let me add more explanation to that about the 5 ways to implement blended learning. Now this is particularly coming from Erwin Marlon Sario. He is teaching technology for teaching and learning. And the 5 ways to implement blended learning are as follows. Okay. In face-to-face driver, trainers drive the instruction and augments with digital tools. For rotation, learners cycle through a schedule of independent online study and face-to-face classroom time. For flex, most of the curriculum is delivered digitally and trainers are available for support. Whereas for labs, all curriculum is delivered digitally but in a consistent controlled physical location. And online driver is employees complete an entire course purely through an online platform with possible check-ins. So that explains the 5 ways to implement blended learning. Another is the Addie Model. So the Addie Model or Addie Model means analyze or analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. For the analysis phase, it clarifies the instructional problems and objectives and identifies the learning environment and learners' existing knowledge and skills. Questions the analysis phase addresses include: who are the learners and what are their characteristics? What is the desired new behavior? What types of learning constraints exist? What are the delivery options? What are the pedagogical considerations? What adult learning theory considerations apply? And what is the timeline for project completion? So the process of asking these questions is often part of a needs analysis. During the needs analysis, instructional designers will determine constraints and resources in order to fine-tune their plan of action. For the design phase deals with learning objectives, assessment instruments, exercises, content, subject matter analysis, lesson planning, and media selection. The design phase should be systematic and specific. Systematic means a logical, orderly method that identifies, develops, and evaluates a set of planned strategies for attaining project goals. Specific means the team must execute each element of the instructional design plan with attention to detail. So the design phase may involve writing a design document or design a proposal or concept and structure note to aid financial development. Development phase talks about instructional designers and developers create and assemble content asset described in the design phase. Like if e-learning is involved, programmers develop or integrate technologies. Designers create storyboards. Testers debug materials and procedures. So the team reviews and revises the project according to the feedback. So after completing the development of the course material, the designer should conduct an imperative pilot test. For this is so that it can be carried out by involving key stakeholders and rehearsing the course material. For the implementation phase, the procedure for training facilitators and learners, just like we're doing right now. So training facilitators cover the course curriculum, the learning outcomes, the method of delivery, and testing procedures. The preparation for learners includes training them on new tools, software or hardware, and student registration. Implementation includes evaluation of the design. Lastly is the evaluation phase. So the evaluation phase consists of two aspects. First is formative and the other one is summative. Formative evaluation is present in each stage of the audit process, while summative evaluation is conducted on finished instructional programs or products. Whew. For the conclusion, it can be said that flexible learning and flexible delivery does make a difference. So it makes a difference to academics, to students, to the management of the learning environment, and to teach and learning processes. So the particular attribute of an online learning environment provide teachers with powerful new ways to represent knowledge that are not available in a print environment. However, these different ways of representing knowledge place different information processing demands on the learners. In designing and delivering courses using ICTs, the information process demands on the learner need to be carefully considered. Technology may be advancing, but humans still have the same information processing capability and limitations. So academics need to ask, will it improve the learning experience of the learner? Or what are the needs to be done to support the learner in those cases where additional processing demands are made of the learner? So given that many of our students, whether studying full-time or part-time, are in paid environment, the issue of flexible delivery, even in a campus-based context, is recognized as means of meeting student needs and increase their access to learning. So many of the students appreciate being able to engage in learning at times and place then suit them in addition to the formal opportunities afforded by lectures and tutorials. So the use of technology for technology's sake is not to be recommended. However, technology can be advantageously in the provision of learning support. So in summary, it can provide real-time interaction which helps focus group energies and talents and promotes collaboration, information sharing, and problem solving, thereby contributing to the motivation of learners. Group cohesion, which contributes to the sense of the learners being part of a broader learning community. While meaningful feedback, such as synchronous systems, allow the learners to test ideas, discuss concepts, and debate issues that they support group problem solving and decision making. For pacing, synchronous events encourage learners to keep up to date with their courses. Asynchronous technologies, however, can allow access to information from home or work, thus enabling the learner to integrate learning concepts with the working environment. Then the learner can also access resources as required on the job. So my last words is that uh, for meeting the possibilities of the future, learners need to be a lifelong learner and involved in an ongoing process of discovery and self-discovery. And for us teachers who are embracing ICT to deliver flexible learning, are excited to discover that for most parts, for most parts, technology can be used as a tool to relieve the tedious subject that are recreated the intimacy or immediacy of the learning environment that the ever-growing class size and ever-increasing teaching commitments took from them. And then the appropriate support must be provided in the form of staff development and training, educational design, support for a flexible and online environment, which technologies which are simple to use and easy to understand, and troubleshooting support when needed. So this is the challenge for us educators. Thank you very much and good morning.